Hello, I'm Angela,
And I'm Evan.
and welcome to Amen Audacity.
Am I the a-hole for threatening divorce if my husband gets sealed in the Mormon temple with his family?
Probably not, right?
We'll find out.
I mean, last time we read this, I thought not, but maybe I don't know, maybe my opinions will change.
I, 29-year-old female, have been married to my husband, Jake, 31-year-old male, for 4 years. We had 2 children together, and neither my husband nor I are religious in any capacity. My mother-in-law recently met and got engaged to her fiance, Bill, who is Mormon.
Bill.
I am not 100% sure that what I'm about to say is completely accurate, but this is how my husband explains it. He says that as a Mormon, his future stepfather has to get married in the temple, but non-Mormons can't get married in the temple. So my mother-in-law has had to convert to Mormonism.
Okay.
According to my husband, there's tradition where Mormon families get sealed in the church. It's a ceremony in which your family is bonded together in the afterlife. My mother-in-law wants this done. Because her fiance isn't my husband and his siblings' biological father, and they weren't already married and sealed in the church when they were born, they had to perform a separate ceremony for my mother-in-law's adult children and their families. Okay. I'm not religious, but I'm not against religion. I'm not religious, but I'm not against religion. And while I wasn't a super big fan of the idea, I was willing to do it. We had family dinner recently, and my mother-in-law was getting on my husband's behind about it, saying things like, "Your sisters agreed. I want you and my grandbabies to be separated from me in heaven." After the dinner, my husband formally approached me about this idea. It had only been mentioned in passing, and we never discussed it in detail. How his mom wanted him and our children sealed in the temple with her and how important it was to her. I was confused and asked the boy about me, and he said that since I was married into a family, I'm not her family and don't need to be sealed in with her. He was telling me about how it's only a ceremony and it doesn't actually mean anything because we don't follow the beliefs, but I'm still hurt. No, I don't believe it's real. I don't believe that I'm going to be separated from my husband and children in the afterlife, but it's still the principle of the situation.
Principle.
Yeah, you black. Not her, you though. My sister-in-law's husbands were included and they married into the family. My mother-in-law and I haven't always gotten along very good, but excluding me from the afterlife
Yeah.
while sharing my husband and my kids
And the kids.
would be with her, but not me.
But not her.
Plus, the fact that my husband is going along with all the blatant exclusion of me is incredibly hurtful. I know he doesn't believe we'll be separated in the afterlife, but the fact he's willing to allow my mother-in-law to believe he will is just to appease her. It's disrespectful. It's not real to me, but it is to my mother-in-law. And my husband is enabling her diabolical plan to separate us in the afterlife. I'm sorry. I told my husband that if he goes along with her request, it'll mean divorce. I'm not even sure if my kids can be sealed without both parents. But at this point, I'm seriously reconsidering our relationship anyways. I feel more disrespected than I've ever felt in my life, and my husband caused it. That's ridiculous. My friends and family think I'm being ridiculous because if I don't believe it's real, what's the actual harm? And nobody seems to understand that I'm upset about the principle of it. I'm upset over the fact that he's enabling this behavior and not the fact that we be separated in the afterlife. I don't know. You kind of seem upset about the afterlife, though, sis. He's enabled her crazy behaviors before, but it's never come this close to this level. Am I the a-hole?
No. No. It's the principle.
The reason I swung so hard towards divorce is because he's had this behavior before, and despite endless conversations, he continues to enable and excuse her behavior. This just feels like my tipping point, and I'm unsure if I'm just being dramatic or not.
There are a lot of occasions that have passed at this point. The wedding has gone by, the engagement has gone by, the wedding has gone by, the first and the second kid being born, that has gone by. And it sounds to me like through this, her actions have not improved. And even more important, it sounds like your husband just hasn't stuck up for you. Because if this is like a repeated thing that keeps happening and this woman just keeps disrespecting you and he just keeps allowing it again and again and again, time for mama's boys. Like, no. Absolutely not. I think it's, like, incredibly rude. Also, like, you're gonna include your son-in-laws, but exclude your one daughter-in-law? Like, what's the matter with you? Like, you already knew that that was gonna, like, send some alarm signals. Talking about something like, "You're not my real family?" Like, she literally, through her own womb, added additions to your legacy, and you're talking about some she not your family?
Yes, that's rough.
Oh!
Babe, there's no person to fight. Not the a-hole. There are several issues here. Children can only be sealed to their biological parents or to their adoptive parents. There's no other ceremony, so your husband cannot be sealed to his mom and her fiance. Grandchildren cannot be sealed directly to their grandparents. They have to be sealed to their parents, and only if their parent is sealed to the grandparents. Without your kids being sealed to you and your husband, they can never be sealed into your mother-in-law. For
Oh.
your husband to go into the temple, he needs
Mm.
to be a baptized member in good standing and a full tithe payer for at least a year. And just so you guys know, tithe means 10% of your income, which sounds mighty expensive for someone who doesn't believe in this. So unless your mother-in-law is planning on claiming your kids as her own, which will be asinine, chances are anyone who can't come into the temple will wait out in the foyer for the mother-in-law and fiance to get sealed. I think the mother-in-law just kind of got excited and bit off a little bit more than she could chew.
It sounds like this person actually belongs to the Mormon faith or is at least, like, familiar with it or maybe Googled it. But, yeah, no. What do you mean you're trying to seal your grandchildren off in heaven without their mom? That's
Yeah,
weird.
that's not good. I
That's
mean, that's
weird. Even if
really
you
an
don't
understatement.
believe in it, that's weird.
Very much.
That's weird. Because she already my thing is just like, you're having all of your children sealed with you,
Uh-huh.
and you're denying your daughter-in-law that opportunity too?
What I will say is this. You are not the a-hole in this situation.
At all.
You're absolutely not. This is a rough scenario. And it's just low-key, it's exhausting to see all these joints where it's just like you got a mother-in-law and it's just like they're trying to buy like all of these families and these couples. But
Mhm.
I'm just like, it's important to just listen to each other. Like it really is. But also you can't if you're in a situation to where you have to choose between your wife and anyone else, or your husband and anyone else, you have to choose your spouse.
You have to.
Like, I mean, it's just, you have to.
You have to.
Yeah. Not the a-hole, though.
No, not at all. Not at all, love.
Yeah.
Don't even think it.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
And I did not disrespect the Mormon church this time. So y'all don't have to come after me.
Dude, you didn't disrespect him the last time. Let's just go to the next story, love. Okay, our next story starts like this. Am I the a-hole for wanting to back out of my in-laws' weddings plans after they completely changed everything behind my back? You ready, babe?
I think so.
All right. My husband, male 31, and I, female 25, recently got legally married at a courthouse, just the two of us. His parents, who live in India, wanted us to have a traditional Indian wedding ceremony as well. I initially agreed because they told me it would be a small, intimate ceremony with just 5 of us, me, him, his brother, and his parent, at a temple near where we live, lasting just one morning as an abridged version. It was honestly open to doing this for them because I know the ceremony is culturally important and I wanted to be respectful. I agreed to it during our last visit here a couple of months ago, but while they're back in India, they started changing everything without consulting us. First, the location moved from a local church in New Jersey and then suddenly to Atlanta, because they said New Jersey wasn't available on the date they chose. Instead of considering our wishes and picking a different date so they could remain close to home, they moved it across the country. Then instead of a simple morning ceremony, it turned into a 2-day event that required us to be there for 3 to 4 days total. That's a really big difference. The worst part is that they flew in today to stay in town until the wedding, which is a few weeks away. Oh gosh. And when we picked them up At the airport, they casually dropped the news that 40 plus people would be attending. It's about to be a rager. I promise you there's going to be 500 people there. This is despite me repeatedly stating that I only wanted a small ceremony because I have no family, and a large wedding would make me feel incredibly isolated and alone. It would also bring up past trauma that I prefer to avoid, especially on your wedding day. I get it. I feel completely disregarded because at no point was I asked if I was okay with these changes. I was just informed after everything had already been decided. When I voiced my discomfort to my fiance early on, he brushed it off and told me to just go with it because he didn't want to argue with both me and my parents. He told me to trust him, even though I warned him multiple times that it was clear his parents were disregarding our wishes. Now that things have escalated to this point, he finally understands why I'm frustrated and says he'll support me if I decide to back out. No, he won't. But I feel like he's only doing damage control at this point. I also feel like it's too late. His parents already finished planning, and the wedding is approaching quickly. Backing out now could permanently damage our relationship. And the thing is, I don't want to put my husband in a situation where he has to choose between me and his parents, even though he should be choosing you by default. But I also feel like I'm being backed into a corner because you are. Another thing that really bothers me is that this wedding doesn't even feel like it's about celebrating our marriage. It feels like it's about their image. His family takes great pride in being from the highest caste, and I feel like the wedding is more about status and appearance than actually welcoming me into the family. That realization hurts because I don't have family of my own. And when I got engaged, I was really hoping I'd be gaining one. But now I see that's not going to happen. Instead of feeling included, I feel like this is about them keeping up appearances with their community. It's disappointing to realize that my in-laws don't see this as a way to embrace me as a person, but rather as a ceremonial obligation that benefits their reputation. Dang. Adding to the stress, my husband and I are adding to the stress. My husband and I are not in a great financial position right now. And I was very clear that I wanted us to be more stable going into our marriage. Understandable. His parents have the means to help us, but have always been selective about when they do. That's messed up. They've told my husband that their cash flow is tied up in investments that won't mature until next year and that they can only help in case of emergencies. Yet, somehow, they found the money to fund an elaborate wedding that I didn't even ask for. So that's where the money's going.
They're paying for something that she didn't ask for.
Yeah.
It's really more for them. I mean, we gotta keep.
Okay. I'm not saying they're obligated to help us, but I at least wanted to wait until I was in a better financial situation and had found a new job. Instead, they insisted that this needed to happen on this exact date because, according to them, something bad will happen to our marriage or even he could die. I don't fully understand the religious reasoning behind it, but it feels like they know exactly what to say to manipulate my husband into doing what they want. I feel like I was pressured into something I wasn't ready for. And worse, I wasn't even given the full truth about what I was agreeing to. In addition here, his parents have been making intrusive comments about my tattoos, my lip piercings, which they want me to remove, and even my menstrual cycle because apparently I can't enter the temple if I'm on my period. I can't remove my piercing because it would leave a visible hole in the middle of my face, and I don't feel comfortable walking around like that all day. Again, I'm trying to be respectful because I understand where they're coming from, but it doesn't feel mutual. It feels like they're expecting me to conform while showing no regard for my own comfort or boundaries. What worries me the most is that if I go through with this wedding, I feel like I'm telling them that they can do whatever they want, and I'll just go along with it. I already see how they control my husband with money and guilt, and I don't want that to become my reality too. It already is, boo. If I give into this wedding, will they feel entitled to dictate how we live, how we raise our kids or what traditions I have to follow. I feel like this is setting a dangerous precedent, and if I don't stand up for myself now, I never will. I understand that this is their culture, and I've tried to be as respectful as possible, but I feel like they took advantage of my willingness to compromise and disregarded my boundaries. And so, at what point does my own comfort matter? I honestly don't want to go through with the ceremony anymore, but I feel like backing out now could have long term consequences for my marriage. So, am I the a hole for wanting to back out, even though I initially agreed to it? Any advice would be gladly appreciated, and I don't have a strong support system around me. I'm open to constructive feedback because I'm not sure if I'm missing anything or if my emotions are clouding my judgment. Thank you, and I appreciate you for reading this long post.
Mm.
Girly Pop, you've been bamboozled, hoodwinked, smeckledorfed.
My question is, like, how much did she know about this culture before going in?
I don't think she knew anything. She could not have known anything.
Is that her fault though?
I think so, because I'm just like, you have Google. This is like a modern age. Like you
Yeah,
have yes, you have your husband, but you also have Google. Like,
it's also so it's his so it's both of your responsibility, in my opinion, to learn about each other's culture, but also as the proprietor of that culture,
mm,
you have to. So, I mean, the husband also, or the soon-to-be husband, has to take some ownership here, because how much prepping and briefing did he give to her to get ready for what his parents could be like? Because he knows his parents.
yeah.
I mean, if you want to be with somebody for a long time, and if you know that there are different things or idiosyncrasies or tics about your parents,
Hmm.
you should be willing to provide that information for your spouse,
Yeah.
future spouse as well. Just so they know, well, future spouse, hopefully, and not leaving them in the dark as a husband or a wife. But you have to be sure to let them know what they're getting into. If you're not letting them know what they're getting into before they get into it, you're not setting them up for success. That being said, I mean, I think there's blame to go around here for everybody. So unfortunately, OP, you're not off the hook here. You're not. Parents definitely aren't off the hook, because I
They
mean
shouldn't have lied.
they're
Why did you
lying.
lie?
Yeah.
Why did you lie?
I do want to make a phone call.
I do want to read this because like I caught that a little bit earlier because I was just like it's probably going to be about 500 people. So the top comment is beyond everything else, consider if this is the high caste society wedding being done in an authentic fashion, then they are telling you that 40 people will be there. It will probably be more so around 400.
Yeah. Because I think that we have friends that can definitely speak to that a little bit. But let's see if we can make a phone call, if we can phone a friend.
We're calling our friends. This is Matthew and Karis. Um, so right now we're doing our podcast, guys.
You guys are special guests on our podcast.
Oh my gosh. Well, hello.
Oh,
Hi.
how y'all doing? Let's pose a prompt to you.
So Matthew, Karis, we just read this Reddit story of this woman who was marrying into an Indian family. She was told by her mother-in-law and her father-in-law that they are going to be organizing a wedding for them that is going to be a traditional Indian wedding. It's going to be one morning and an abridged version of a traditional Indian wedding, and there's only going to be 5 people there. Okay. First of all, does a 5-person wedding in India exist? Okay, I just didn't think
The
there is more coming. There was more coming. So pretty much, they kind of just like eased the daughter into it, knowing that she's very introverted and doesn't have like much family. So they essentially lied, and they were just like, oh well, actually we need it to be a 2-day version. Actually there's going to be about 40 people there. Actually we're moving it from this temple in New Jersey, and we're going to have it in Atlanta because we needed to have it on a specific date. And I think, personally, they're just warming her up for a 400-person, at least, wedding. Because they're also a part of, like, the high caste. I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah. I mean, well, it just means that they're going to have a lot of kids. They're able to afford a lot of guests.
Yeah, okay. Oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
I'm just like, why didn't she Google this?
She definitely should have Googled it.
Wait, this is for real? Like,
This is somebody's real life on Reddit.
Yeah.
Wait, they're still getting married?
I don't know.
Oh.
They haven't had like an update or like an edit or really anything.
We're trying to figure out who like the a-hole is in this situation, and we're saying that everybody is at fault, including the original poster.
What do you mean the original poster? Why?
Like, I'm just because. Why didn't you ask your husband, like, hey, does this exist? Like a
I think to me it's the husband's fault, because I can't assume.
Thank you.
I cannot assume somebody else's culture for things I'm not aware of. And especially if you communicated that you say you're going to do only a few people. And if that was what that meant, if the number was given, thrown in there, it was communicated. And it's important for the Indian to explain how Indian weddings usually work. I'm sure they should have had that conversation where it's like, oh yeah, this is what we do. This is how the ceremony goes. They had to have a conversation. So I'm like, nobody should have been that blindsided. But at the same time, I can see the blindsiding happening when the parents are like, doing something on the back. Maybe both of them got blindsided. Who knows? But also, like, unfortunately, like in my culture, like the guests, like you just bring your friends, and their cousins, and everyone's welcome. You don't really turn anybody down. So whatever you plan for, it's probably going to be double that.
Ah, my lord. Oh.
So with that,
oh my gosh.
With that being said,
oh my gosh.
With that being said, Karis,
double who is on the list?
Double who's on the list?
Who is on? You can just
man, that's crazy.
What?
That's absolutely nuts to have double the amount of people.
Oh my god.
With that being said, I'm very, very much assuming that you guys aren't gonna have double the amount of people that you invited for y'all's wedding, of course. But
we're going American on this one.
That food is about to slap.
That food is about to be amazing.
About to slap.
It's gonna be amazing.
I'm about to break it all the way down on the dance floor.
Do you guys feel adequately prepared? Or I'll say this. Do you guys feel, and you can answer this to however the extent that you want to, because this is Instagram. But do you guys feel adequately informed about each other's culture at this point?
Adequately, I think. Okay,
you got to answer that.
I think so. I think. I definitely think my trip. Sorry, thank you. My trip to India has actually helped me a lot. Because I mean, just being immersed in that culture and being able to like explore and see who my significant other is in this culture, where she comes from, like the why of like, why do you do the things you do, and why are you the kindness that you have, and where does that come from, and,
Aww.
Things like that.
He loves her.
I think he loves her a little bit.
he
definitely say a lot of it, but
a lot of it. You gotta see it firsthand. You gotta see what the crowd looks like firsthand on a day that was unplanned. You gotta see an engagement also take place. You gotta see like our engagement ceremonies in India are basically like a mini wedding. So that's not in the wedding, so it's basically like a mini version of it. So you got to see like bits and pieces of the culture, and just like how people just show up in like large numbers specifically.
Karis, I do have to ask, what is a mini wedding in India?
Probably a couple of hundreds.
Dear Lord.
That's a
like this 200, like 200, 400 would be small.
Yep.
500 actually.
Oh,
It's
I
like
mean,
500 below
that's
is
about
small.
how many people were at our wedding. Not wedding, engagement. It was like 100 at least.
I say for our engagement, it was at least like maybe about 70 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, 70 people who were there. And you did not know a thing. Ha ha! Thank you, guys.
Everybody was lying to me. Robert was the worst.
We'll save the story about our engagement for later. Just for the sake of this.
Yeah. Just know, Robert, if you're watching this, you were the worst. And Peyton, you know what you did.
On that note, we shall let y'all go. So thank you guys for being a part of this and for sharing your insight.
Thank you, Karis. Thanks you, Matthew.
Thanks for having us.
We love y'all. See y'all soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Getting...
Extra.
I am not extra.
You know about it.
I am not extra. You just told me that my wardrobe was modest, so therefore I can't be extra.
All right. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband I was going to divorce him for going to his sister's wedding? So this is happening in real time, and I don't know if my emotions are super high right now or if I'm completely in the right. My sister-in-law is getting married, and I've been helping her plan her wedding, from the DJ to the makeup artist to her hair, etc. She's asking me to be in the wedding party. Aww.
So
I agreed to that. My husband agreed to have me read a prayer at the church, even though I'm not very religious, and to sponsor the wedding.
Wait a second. Your husband has to give you permission to read in a church? Why does your husband have to give you permission for that?
I was never asked for that. Well, wait. And to sponsor the wedding. Oh, wow. I was never asked for that. Comes to today, her first dress fitting. I'm there with my mother-in-law, my sisters-in-law, and my future in-laws. Everyone was looking at bridesmaid dresses, and so was I. I was in that moment, told I was not in the wedding party. I was not allowed to be in the wedding photos and would have to drive myself to the wedding due to my husband being in the groom's party. I was told I was basically the wedding planner and would need to leave the ceremony while the wedding party took photos to make sure the reception was being set up correctly. I walked away and texted my husband. I was upset, but I didn't want to ruin his sister's big moment. She picked her dress and they continued to look at bridesmaid dresses. I told my sister-in-law I was leaving and congratulations on the dress. I made it outside and began to cry and called my husband and explained the situation to him. This isn't the first time my family has done this to me in the 9 years we've been together, and they disrespected me and my marriage so many times. I explained I no longer wanted to attend the wedding, and he said okay, but I still am.
Dang.
I told him if he wanted to, that was fine, but it would be the last time he allows his family to make me feel this way. He said I'm being ridiculous, and my family agrees with him, so am I the a-hole?
She, sweet girl. Sweet girl. No, you're not. No, you're not.
And follow through with it. If he can't stick up for you, if you're petty, cancel everything you had part in planning. Any money you spent, return any and everything.
Let's see what other comments they have.
Yeah, send an invoice for your work/time.
Well, because they seem so entitled to it. I'm just like, they don't feel like they have to respect her, but they truly do feel entitled to like her resources and her time. That is evil.
Yeah.
Like, and you're not even gonna like include them in pictures. You're gonna forbid them from being included in pictures.
I'm just like, do yourself a favor and follow through.
And I'm just like, are you even the bride to say that she's not in it? Because she doesn't say that the bride said, like, at no point does she say that she was like upset at the bride. Because I feel like if she was upset at the bride specifically, she would have said something.
This comment says, do yourself a favor and follow through. You deserve so much better. You're clearly competent and talented. If they use you the way that they do, get yourself a community that actually appreciates you, not what you do for them, not the a-hole.
Yeah. Because I'm just like, you have to be reliable. You have to be reliable because they clearly don't like you, but they trust you.
You pretty much.
They trust you.
Everyone here agrees with her, as they should. Honestly, I mean, this has been a cycle, a vicious cycle that's been perpetuated day in and day out, week in and week out, year in, year out, etc. Like, it's just been a vicious cycle. It's been repeated. You deserve better. You deserve
Yeah.
to be valued and appreciated. Not like like my wife said, not for the things that you do, but for who you are.
Yeah.
For who you are, you should be appreciated because of that. So, I mean, for your value to not be appreciated, and also, I mean, this just isn't right. I say, I mean, your husband definitely should have stuck up for you, because even in the Bible it says, husbands love your wives as Christ loves the church. Christ fights for the church.
He ain't doing that.
He is not fighting for his bride.
He's not.
He's not.
Mm-mm.
So, I mean, if this is something that's been an issue for a long time, I'm just like, this is rough, man, because he's showing you time in and time out that he does not care about you. And if that's the case, honestly, pick up and move on.
Yeah, it just seems to me like they're just so used to her just like looking for approval and being like subservient and just like looking to be liked, which is probably why OP has been reliable and has shown herself to like actually get stuff done. But they just figured, and I'm guessing like her family, like her own family too, because like even her own family at the end said that she was the person in the wrong.
That's crazy.
That's really,
Your
really
own
crazy.
family doesn't have your back. That's
So it
wild.
sounds to me like she's been treated like that probably like for most of her life.
For all of her life at this point.
Yeah, for like all of her life. And then she just found like another family that pretty much treated her the exact same way, like in a way that was really familiar, like a doormat, you know? So I think she's finally in a place where OP has had enough and is ready is ready to be treated the way that she deserves to be treated. Like you deserve to like not only show up for other people, but to have people show up for you in the same way that you show up for everybody else. Like without respect too, cuz yeah, it's time.
Well said, babe.
Yeah.
Well said.
You too, babe.
Yeah. So I think this concludes our Amen Audacity
Yes,
for
it
this week.
does.
I'm Evan,
I'm Angela.
and we're happy to be doing these for you. Like and subscribe via the various means, which I'm sure are going to be somewhere in this thing that we call frame. But yeah, love y'all. Take it easy. God bless.
God bless. Bye, guys.